Alright, let's get down to business. Just finished Mortal Kombat. This new reamping, whatever you really want to call it, honestly. Let's start from okay, so throughout the whole movie, I wrote notes down. I just want to say in the forefront of all this, before I dig in, before I drag, before I do anything, before I give credit where credit's due, I'm going to say I wasn't as disappointed as I thought I was going to be. But literally, the bar was in HE double hockey stick. It was right next to Scorpion's bed in HE double hockey stick and heck. Honestly, though, that's where the bar was, and maybe even lower than that. Maybe in the Earth's crust. So, being any amount of good was going to make people be like, oh my gosh. So I can't sit here and be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest movie, because it's not. It is absolutely 100% not. But what I am going to say is it was not as disappointing as I thought it was going to be. So I'm just going to go down the list of the things I wrote down and add my 2 cents and go from there. So the first thing I noticed was it is a prequel. Me personally, I would have rather, if we're going to do prequel, you should have done prequel all the way. We should have actually seen the Lin Kuei and Scorpion's clan actually duke it out. And y'all didn't even have to call it Mortal Kombat, because guess what? The tournament didn't happen. So I would have much rather have seen the Lin Kuei and all that, and this be kind of like a side story before. But you kind of have us literally in limbo between early on and now, and kind of before now. It's strange. It's really strange. It's when the Lin Kuei and all that was messing around in feudal. I really don't know. It's kind of strange because they make Sub-Zero speak Chinese and they make Scorpion speak Japanese. But I always thought that their clans were close in range enough for them to walk over and kill each other. But okay. Making it seem like they're both two factions with that language. And I'm kind of glad that they said, because now I can distinguish who should be what ethnicity. Now we know for certain that Scorpion should always be played by someone who's Japanese, and Sub-Zero should always be played by someone who is Chinese. And I think that's fine. That was a fine thing to add in there. Some people seem to have issue with them making them speak a different language, because like I said, this is an Asian piece. I didn't expect a lot of Anglo-Saxons to be in here, and I kind of saw one too many Anglo-Saxons. Yes, I kind of saw one too many Anglo-Saxons, but I'll get to that when I get to it. So this is a whole spoiler video. So spoiler, it's in the description. Always read the description before watching my video, because I will tell you what's in it basically, and give trigger warnings if there's trigger warnings that's necessary. This movie should have been made with fans in mind, not fan service. I saw a few fan servicey points, but I kind of saw that they kind of had us in mind for a tiny bit. You'll notice they'll just say people's names, we're sitting in the audience and it's oh, okay, I am Iron Man. Iron Man I don't even think Iron Man said he was Iron Man until the end. You know what I'm saying? No one's going to say, I am blah, blah, blah. Okay. It was very inorganic. It wasn't organic. It wasn't the entrances were not organic whatsoever. It was basically here you go. Silver platter. The acting is amazing from some people. Barely any cuts during the fighting scenes, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted cut raw, and the blood is amazing. The blood is spectacular. I would say the blood is a little extra, more blood than you usually see, but I'm 100% fine with that. That's fine. I'm not nitpicking the blood. The blood should be a lot, because it's a gory game. Raiden is racially correct. However, he literally brought nothing to that role, and he was far too short. They should have hired someone who was taller and had more dominance. Honestly, Shang Tsung, when you see him, has a stronger presence than Raiden. It's kind of messed up, because Shang Tsung isn't even the final boss. He's not even really a boss. Like, Goro is supposed to be the first person that, like, and he dies so easily, honestly. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Raiden was racially correct, but he did not serve Raiden. He was not giving Raiden. A lot of people are noticing that his character was very docile. And that's not how Raiden is. Raiden, I don't know. It's just, he wasn't what I expected. Cole Young is Scorpion's blood, which is like another thing. Like, I hate the fact that y'all are like giving people like relatives and all that. It's annoying. It's all right. It's fine. At least he's significant. I thought Cole Young was just going to be some random person, or Kung Lao's or Liu Kang's cousin or something. I'm glad that he was connected more to the actual situation than I thought he would be. But Cole Young was literally useless. He could have been omitted from this whole thing. Literally take out all, like, someone needs to edit the movie to where you take out every single Cole Young instance and his family, and you could have made the same movie. He's so insignificant. He is so insignificant. We really did not need Cole Young. He is so insignificant. When we get to seeing Jax, he is super puny. Like, I already said this before when I looked up the people who were going to play whoever was going to be and whatnot. Honestly, Jax looked a little too puny for me. He still does. He literally sounded exactly like Jax. He grunted like Jax. He understood the assignment, but the casting director didn't understand the assignment. We are not here for voice acting. When people come at me and saying that I'm nitpicking when I talk about what people look like, we are watching something. We hear it. We don't smell it. They don't have to smell like the characters, because it's not a sense we are using, okay? But you did a little oopsies. You made a little mistakies. They're kind of stinky. One of them, like I said, Raiden, is just like, he didn't have any presence. He, with that stick, had more presence than he did. Like, when you got Kano on the payroll. And then who's Kano to the whole situation? Honestly, I can think of like 5 more characters that are like better than him. Not saying that I didn't want him in this movie, but I'm just like, he was way more of a character than he should have been compared to everyone else. Like Liu Kang, I'm getting too ahead of myself. Like, you got to make your characters more interesting. And then you kind of just flop Jax and Sonya. We don't get to see nothing about their training. We're just supposed to guess that they're good. And it's just like, yeah, if this is made for us. And then it goes to, who's your audience? Because I know literally no one who played Mortal Kombat wanted to see Cole Young. So you obviously had more than just us in your audience in mind. But a lot of the cast is kind of, they're just there. Like, the fighting is more than the story and dialogue. The dialogue's pretty stale. Sonya, like, you got an Anglo-Saxon, fine. Her acting was just like, okay, okay, Johnny Cage isn't in this, so okay. And if this movie was solely for the fans, it makes complete sense for me to be upset that some characters don't look like they're supposed to. Like, so you're wonking up the timeline a bit. So we're supposed to believe Cabal's already burnt up, but Jax didn't get his arms till just now. And Johnny Cage isn't here, but Liu Kang is. So is Sonya. And don't forget about Melina. And Katana's not here. Sindel's not here, even though she was Empress of Edenia before Shao Kahn did that whole mess. And if this is before Shao Kahn did that whole mess, why wasn't Sindel in this? Kung Lao dies, but before he meets Shao Kahn. What are you doing? And then, like, you literally did that with Cabal because you didn't want to have Cabal looking the way he doesn't look, the way he looks before he's burnt up. Which is dumb. It's just like, there's so many cool costumes that you really didn't need Cabal to look so great, especially since he only gets to speak for a little bit and then dies. Like, I'll talk about the others that I didn't like. But Jax, he literally He's not big enough. I'm so sorry. He should have lifted more weights, something. And he looks kind of tall. He's an ex-model or something. He's tall, I'm sure. But he just wasn't beefy enough. And I definitely didn't want Terry Crews taking the job. I'm glad that y'all didn't look to him for this job. Thank goodness. Because I wouldn't have been able to watch it. I'm sorry. I wouldn't have been able to watch it. But he understood the assignment. I'm not going to fault him for being puny. It's just he needed to be a lot bigger. And then it didn't help when his arms were taken off and put back on, the arms that were ultimately his quote-unquote power, which they bring this thing in where it's like, I forgot what they call it, but it's kind of like energy like something. It's like magical powers that you get because you're a warrior or something. And it's kind of like takes away from the fact that people already had powers to begin with. It's like these powers are coming out of nowhere, really, making them have the powers that they had in the game, which I understand it because they're trying to have more realism, but it's strange. It's strange. Like I didn't expect that. So that was just a strange direction they took that. So the first time they transitioned from Earthrealm to Outworld, it was very out of place because they go to Outworld for 1 second to establish that Sub-Zero's working with Shang Tsung, which was an unnecessary cut to show him there on some rock somewhere. Please, please, please don't be pulling no Kingdom Hearts' where in Kingdom Hearts 3, Xemnas, despite him having a whole castle, he's gonna have his people meet upon tall rocks. It's like, come on, with this rock formation in the middle of nowhere, it's not even his castle. I don't know if you guys realize this, but Shang Tsung had a palace. He had a palace. So I don't know why he's sitting out in some rock place having meetings. Maybe he doesn't want people to mess with his carpets or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that the tournaments took place in his house. But don't quote me on that. Like, talk about it in the comments if I'm wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, Shang Tsung he actually had some estate. So I don't know why he's outside in the middle of nowhere talking to these people. But we didn't even know that was Sub-Zero, because also his colors are not like, y'all literally toned down the colors, and it's just like, I understand that the colors are bright and stuff in the games to make it pop and whatnot, but go all out. Melina wasn't pink. She was like dark. She was wearing dark colors, and everyone else, like, the same thing happened. There were no bright colors in this movie at all whatsoever. And it's like, I get that you're trying to cater to, I really have no idea who, because we are the fans, and the fans recall everybody's costumes, and nobody's costume had the same amount of brightness. The only person who had any form of color to their outfit and was the closest was Liu Kang, and it's kind of sad because he kind of was gobbled up by that outfit for the most part. Y'all got a very underdeveloped Liu Kang. Maybe it's because, like, the sequel will be years later and he'll look older, but he looks like a little pipsqueak. And I don't know why you're getting all these small itty-bitty people when you didn't have to. I don't know. It's just strange. Cole Young, like, I can't with Cole Young. I told you from before that I didn't see any reason to add a point of view character, because we had Jax and Sonya from Earthrealm. We had Kano from Earthrealm. We have so many people from Earthrealm. We didn't need another character. And there are a lot of other characters, tons of characters from Earthrealm, that we didn't necessarily need Cole Young and his 2-bit family. I was hoping that they would eventually die, but spoiler, they don't die. They never die, sadly. I was hoping that would be the catalyst to get him to go to Mortal Kombat. And it's kind of strange because he gets sent back in the halfway point of the movie just for Goro to come and for him to kill him. And that's kind of his only kill. And it's kind of messed up because he can kill Goro, but he can't kill anybody else. Like, he's kind of powerless against everybody else. It's just strange. He gets, I don't know. I'll talk about Goro when we get to Goro's part, but it was kind of disappointing. That whole fight was disappointing. He should have decimated that family. Goro should have decimated that family. I don't know why he's like, now I break your back, and he's like staring at him for 2 minutes. Like, he should have broke his back. Like, that, if that was the end of Cole Young, that would have been nice. That would have been delicious. That would have made me feel good. I think Goro should have gotten at least one good kill of the main cast. And not Sonya, not Kano, not Jax. We're running out of people. Cole Young should have died. But whatever. I think Cole Young should have died by the hands of Goro. He serves zero purpose. And when I tell you he serves no purpose, he serves no purpose. Literally take his whole lineage out, other than Scorpion. Goro gets dealt the hairiest of shafts and literally is nothing. He's a nothing, nobody of a worthless waste of CGI because he gets nothing done. He doesn't kill the Young family. He doesn't do anything. We see his shadow and Goro, we know it's him. It would have been nice to, even if we didn't see him do the bad deed, if you didn't want to see a little child die, little child and a wife die, you could have at least had Goro do the deed. Maybe Cole Young could have got his glorified sweatshirt then when he realized, okay, I need to get good because my family's dead. Everyone's around us gonna die. But no. And literally nothing changes in the story. Literally, it's just, I really don't know. Were you guys trying to get a clientele of people who are married or something? Like people who are married can't like video games or something? Are you dumb? There really was no reason to do Cole Young and his family, whatnot, or whatever. Literally, I was really hoping Sub-Zero would just kill off his family. His family and his whole side story drags Mortal Kombat, the whole movie, the whole time. Mileena is black. I'm fine with that, but that means Kitana has to be black. And I hate that, her first line is calling Shang Tsung master. I know that's a nitpick, but that's just strange, you know what I'm saying? Who else says master? Cabal, someone please tell me, did Cabal call Shang Tsung master? Did Sub-Zero call Shang Tsung master? Natara didn't even get to speak before she got killed. And that's another thing. Natara wasn't even ethnic and she got killed the crap out of for no reason. And Natara should have been Indian or some sort of dark-skinned Asian because some sort of skin tone, and they made her look like a vampire. I know she's a vampire, but she was never pale. She was never pale. If anything, she was peach, dark peach. She was never pale. Never. She was never pale. Sonja Blade is good. Anglo, nothing much to her character, but being a special force operative, maybe smaller breasts than the real Sonya, but that's a nitpick too. Nightwolf is dropped in a picture, just as Kotal Khan is. I got one question for you. Who's Nighthawk? So you got Nightwolf and his tomahawks mixed up. How you do that? How you do that? Are we doing cousins now? So is Nighthawk Nightwolf's cousin? Since Cole Young is the descendant of Scorpion and Cassie Cage and Johnny, and all that, everything in Jaxie Briggs and Jack and Hagar and Hacking Hagar. What are we doing? I was kind of disappointed in that because Nightwolf is one of the main characters in the game. And I really don't know what they're trying to do with this whole sequel baiting thing. I already knew they were sequel baiting, and that's why they didn't have Johnny Cage. They put him at the end in a picture. They had so many pictures and so many Easter eggs. I couldn't count all of them, but I did see Katana's fan in the back, supposedly. Hopefully she's not already dead or it's already happened. I don't know where we are in the timeline because there was this point where Liu Kang kind of looked at Mileena intriguingly, he knew her face because Mileena is Katana's clone, but nothing ever comes of it. he never questions her, and nothing ever comes of him looking at her like that. So that was just another Easter egg. It's kind of like, it's one thing to have Easter eggs. It's another thing to have things that just make no sense in the canon or like in context. If he doesn't know her, why did he look at her like that? I don't know. Maybe he just was like, oh, I've never seen anything like that before. But it's just like, okay, he's speaking monk gibberish to everyone when they're eating and stuff. Like he knows everything. But he doesn't know about, well, you know, okay. But whatever. Kano is like, okay, he's pre-eye implant, but turns out that eye implant thing was just his powers. Like I said, they just say, oh, you unlock your inner Chico, like you unlock your inner like thing, and that's how they explain that Liu Kang has his powers. It's just like, okay, instead of just making them have these things, they explain why, and I understand, like I said, realism, but they didn't do that in the games, and we kind of just sopped it up. So I don't think it was necessary. He killed someone who's supposed to be in the tournament, so there might be another character from the game who dies and comes back, and that happens a lot throughout this whole movie. Before Kano is introduced, supposedly he killed someone that Sonya was trying to help gather for Mortal Kombat or whatever. So who knows? That could have been Stryker, because it had to. I don't know if they described who it was, but I do believe it has to be someone from the human world. I don't think they were beatboxing around in no Outworld or Netherrealm. But there's a lot of people who are missing from this whole situation. Like, they put Cabal in here, but they don't put Stryker. He kind of just drops, oh, Kano's the reason why I'm like this. And it's just like, okay, we don't get to see that. If this is such a prequel, why don't we see Cabal before he has his enhancers? It would have been nice to see him, like, it would have been nice to see a character that we didn't know who he was, because that's how it was in the games. We saw Cabal, but we didn't know he was Cabal until Cabal became Cabal, you know? But that's just me. Reptile is an animal. Sadly, I knew they were going to do this. I knew they were going to turn Reptile into an animal. I was hoping for a human-like Reptile who eventually turns into a reptile form. But he's just straight up full animal. Just like Natara is like an animal and screeches and isn't really a person and just dies. Kano being comedic relief and not Johnny Cage is fine, but Johnny should have been in this movie. Cole Young acts like a side character in his own movie because we already know everyone else. Cole Young kind of just sits on the stand and sits by, and then he waits for his turn to speak, kind of, basically. They really didn't know where to put this dude. They kind of like made a Mortal Kombat character like a random person that could be anybody. And if they were going to do that, it would have been nice to see his family die. I don't know. I just wanted to see his family die. I think I'm going to keep saying that. But it was... the family aspect kind of dragged the whole story to the trash. It, like, knocks it down points for having him in there and his family. It could have been worse. Could have been Cole White. I'm already tolerating his Anglo-Saxon wife. Sonya versus Kano was cool. The mini fight, the first fight they have, it kind of sets up for the last fight they have, and it's really cool. The fighting scenes are really good. Liu Kang looks nothing like Liu Kang. Just because he's Asian doesn't make him twins with Liu Kang, okay? Like, you can't just put someone's clothes on and put him in a wig and say that's Liu Kang. He looks nothing like Liu Kang. He's getting eaten up by that outfit. He's also getting eaten up by that hair, too. He just looks like he's a little boy in a costume. I don't know. Maybe he's somebody's baby cousin and they gave him the job. I don't know if he actually got the job by means of actually applying for the job and auditioning. His introduction is so abrupt and strange. They just find him walking in the waste. It's kind of silly. Liu Kang acts like a sage, so it's a bit jarring because he was like that, but he was also charming. And he also was a little older, so it kind of made sense for him to be like that. And I know that he's a monk and all that, and I know that, like, whatever training he had. But I just feel like if this is supposed to be a prequel, they should have made him more immature than he is, because he has nowhere to go from here. Like, he's going to be the same character in the next thing after losing Kung Lao. Oh, and also Kung Lao dies, so that's horrible. But I'll get to that when I get to his death. This Liu Kang looks like gender-bending cosplay. Like I said, he's very small in the outfit. Like, if they made the outfit smaller, maybe he wouldn't have looked so small. Because when he takes the outfit off, he's not small. He's very muscular. But he looks very small in that outfit. He just is swimming in it. Strange. I was hoping that Cole Young would have to die for Scorpion to be reborn, but that doesn't happen. Sadly, I was sitting there waiting for it because I kept seeing him have dreams about him being in HE double hockey stick, and strange. That was strange. Him going back and forth seeing him, and I actually thought he would actually have to sacrifice something. Literally, Cole Young sacrifices nothing for his powers. He sacrifices nothing for his family, and he sacrifices nothing. Like, Liu Kang sacrifices his friend. Like, Jax has no arms. Sonya keeps getting told she's not worthy every 2 seconds. He doesn't sacrifice him specifically. Indirectly, he sacrifices him. Like, he has to deal with his death. But Cole Young deals with nothing, really. He should have at least lost his family. But hey, I guess if you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. He got a glorified Forever 21 sweatshirt that looked like Aqualad. You could have used that for growth. And it's like, yeah, I understand. A lot of times y'all use that trope where you kill off a mother and or children, and it's horrible. It's a dumb trope. But, like, you already did it in the beginning. You literally already did it. So it's like, you could have did it again, and it would have been fine. I guess that was the subversion, but I was kind of expecting the family to die, especially when Sub-Zero pulled up in their house. Like, he should have killed them. There was no reason. First off, another thing. He would have most definitely killed the daughter because she's the blood of Scorpion. So I really don't understand why he didn't just slice her throat right then and there. That was unrealistic to the plot of the story. If he was not going to kill the wife, which he still killed Scorpion's wife in the past, it made no sense for him not to end them instantly. He could have used them as bait in ice, but he could have figured out that, oh, their throats are already cut when he unfroze them or got them out of the ice. But nope, they survived, just saying. That was gross. Raiden should have been the one to unify everyone, not Liu Kang. Like I said, Liu Kang just comes out of nowhere, out of the waste, and is like, here you go, come on, guys. Raiden is a straight up jerk. He was a jerk in the game, yes, but he had a sort of elegance to his sass. There's no elegance to this man. He just is like, whatever. Kind of reminds me more of Bo Raicho than anybody, but whatever. Why not get someone who was taller to play Raiden? He does not have a godlike presence whatsoever. Shang Tsung has more of a godlike presence. They do this thing with his voice where it like vibrates when he speaks, but Raiden gets no sort of like treatment. And he doesn't have like the physical presence of like a god, like at all. It was very disappointing to see that they messed up Raiden, because there was like, okay, messing up Sonya. It's hard to mess up Sonya because all you need to do is get an Anglo-Saxon woman and tell her to just act tough. Hard to mess up Jax. Jax did a very good job. His actor did a very good job being the voice. He just didn't appear to me as Jackson Briggs physically. Melina, I feel like she was more docile. I feel like she was more like, I think if she thought she was going to lose a battle, she would have left. She was a survivor. She should have survived this movie. I know she may come back as a revenant or revived or something, but she most definitely should have survived. She should not have been blown to bits, but she was. I think I said before, Katana's fans are seen in the back in one scene. When Kano keeps doing the comedic relief thing, it's very jarring and his lines are very rushed. Like, it'll be all serious and then he'll like barge in with being the same Kano that's like comedic relief, and he doesn't even wait for the seriousness to like seep in before straight up kicking us with another joke. That was annoying. That was more Johnny Cage's style. I felt like Kano had more class than he did, and it's just like, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be spitting, not at all. I think that was good. I think that was a good touch for him. The beginning Kano seemed better than as he went further along, and a lot of people are saying that the way they were speaking was very juvenile when they were speaking to each other and having the fight, like with Kung Lao and Kano and Liu Kang arguing amongst each other. And I'm like, yeah, I guess a little bit, but it didn't bother me. It wasn't anything that took me out of the immersion of the story. I didn't need them to be cursing every 2 seconds for it to be on an adult level. They make Sonya the nothing person that's not she has to kill Kano in order to become a warrior, which is like, okay, whatever. Makes no sense, but whatever. She was actually pretty strong with, like, they kind of like start off with, oh, you don't belong here. When Cole Young don't belong here, I would have been like, bruh, like, Cole Young don't belong here. Like, who are you? Like, I can name like 50 other Mortal Kombat characters you could have put in other than Cole Young. Like, you could have even put Mocap in there, and that would have made more sense than Cole Young and his family. Like, Mocap. Look up Mocap. Look up who Mocap is, and then come back to me, because it's like, you don't understand how insignificant Mocap is to the story. Mocap is literally what the mocap, like, they just put that character in there because they felt like it. Kung Lao scenes are the best. Literally, Kung Lao, he was one of the best characters that literally transported from the game to the movie. He was one of the best. His outfits were one of the best. His scenes were the best in the whole entire movie. His fighting scenes were the best. No one else's fighting scenes compared to Kung Lao's fighting scenes. And then he dies. Okay. Cole Young's family serves no purpose other than to be what Cole fights for. He could fight for himself or Earthrealm, but that doesn't happen. Kano says, and then he corrects him, like, it's corrected in conversation when he's talking to Cabal. He refers to himself as the Black Dragon. And when I first heard this, I was like, so did y'all really didn't read into any of the lore? Because he wasn't the Black Dragon. He was a part of a group called Black Dragon. And then Cabal says, oh, you can't even da-da-da-da about the Black Dragon. And I'm glad that they addressed it, kind of. They kind of addressed it. But I was just like, that's not going to fly. I kind of also noticed that there were some scenes missing because some characters know people's names and they weren't introduced. Like, Raiko was not, I don't believe he was ever introduced, and I actually thought he was kind of Shao Kahn without his mask for 1 second. I realized he wasn't, because why would they do that? But straight up, I could tell there were some things missing. So Kano's powers are literally powers, not enhancements, like Jax or Cabal. Cabal and Jax both have enhancements, but eventually Jax's enhancements become his power, which is strange too. That whole power thing is really, really, really strange, and I can give it to the movie for doing something different that I didn't expect. But what I'm not going to do is like pretend to understand how that makes any sense in hindsight. Like, so did Raiden get those powers like from that, or like, why can't people just individually have powers, and why can't the enhancements work? Like, why weren't they better? Why'd they have to be increased by some magical mythical power? And then, so Natara is Anglo, like I thought. Someone was talking about, oh, that's just her stunt double or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, right. And like I thought, she was Anglo-Saxon, or they made her white. They made her look white. And simping for Shang Tsung for some reason. I don't recall them ever having a relationship, but maybe I don't remember that part of the lore. And then Cabal's already in his iron lung suit, which makes no sense, because if this is a prequel, like I said, why didn't you wait? Why didn't you wait? He wasn't even a part of the movie that much for us to have had him look that way. You just wanted him to look that way because you thought, okay, if this is the only movie we're going to make, let's go out with a bang. But y'all also simultaneously said, let's sequel bait with Johnny Cage. Makes no sense. Y'all can't have it both ways. Like I said, you either go all in or you don't at all. And you just sit back and wait. You cannot do both. When Cabal and Kano are discussing and talking, and how Kano kind of turns to the dark side, which I really don't know why anyone took him out of their sight, because he was already on the outs and they're treating him like crap anyway. I don't know why they thought that he was going to still be their ally. But when Cabal and Kano are talking, Cabal, never answers Kano's question about the perks of being a part of Shang Tsung's entourage. Except I think there's money talk, but it's just like, Shang Tsung's not giving you a dime. Shang Tsung don't know your currency. Shang Tsung's not from Earth, I don't believe. Is he from Earth? Someone tell me in the comments. Is Shang Tsung from Earth, or is he from Outworld? Because I could have sworn boy was sitting out on a rock somewhere, and that was not Earth. Looked to me like Outworld. Why did Cole Young think he could be seen with the combatants and then go home like he was never there? Why he'd be like, he's like, oh, you're not ready, go home. And he's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go. Like, there was really no reason for him to leave and do all that. They just did that so that Goro would have to go to Earth and be killed there. It's kind of dumb. That whole him going home was dumb. Just saying, it was dumb. Shang Tsung has this strange smoke thing that when I first saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, we got smoke. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I got excited. And then, nope, Shang Tsung is like, okay. And it kind of looks greenish. It kind of looks like a greenish, dark greenish fart. So they kind of had that motif with green. But like I said, they make everything super dark. Like, this is some DC comic crap. Like, just make it the color that we're expecting, because that makes no sense. Why is his crap green? Why is he coming out of green fart? Why? Like I said, they sent Goro to Earthrealm for some reason. Made no sense. I don't know why he didn't just flatten out that family. Goro is huge. I don't know why he sat there and let them drive that car. Goro would have smashed that. He would have, I'm telling you, accordion. That truck would have been accordioned, closed, sandwiched. He's got 4 arms. And he should have stepped on that family. And then the moment he did that, then Cole Young could have got his powers. He literally sacrificed jack diddly squat for anything he got. His powers could have been revival, which could have been a big thing of the next movie. Like, Shao Kahn could have grabbed Cole Young and absorbed his powers and revived everyone or something. Just something to where he ends up dead. And it's one thing that Kano just got angry and then all of a sudden he has a laser coming out of his eye. But Kano's a main character. Cole Young is nobody, so he should have to earn his stripes before he just gets something. We already knew that Cabal and Kano and all these people were going to eventually have to there's an end goal. Each one of them has powers that we know them for. So we eventually knew that they were going to have those powers. We were not prepared for what Cole Young had to offer. And he kind of looks like a land Aquaman, except he can control no animal. I really don't understand his significance. He's kind of gross, honestly. His outfit, his powers, his quote unquote powers, he literally just has fighting. That's it. It's not even powers. He just has forearm type things that he only uses twice. Cabal was amazing. I liked his actor. I liked his delivery. Cabal didn't really get much of a story throughout the whole history of Mortal Kombat. He has his endings and whatnot, but he's a bit there are more games with Sub-Zero in it than Cabal. Cabal gets 6 or 7 games, maybe 5, maybe less. But he starts from 3. just like Shiva does. I was kind of upset that Shiva wasn't in this. I was kind of upset that Kintaro wasn't in this, or Montaro. Like, a lot of the people that I was expecting to see were not in here, but they got Raiko. Like, I know who Raiko is, but I didn't want to see him. There was really no point in having him in here. Like, who said, ooh, Raiko? Like, that's, ooh, so sexy. Like, no one wanted Raiko. Like, no, like, who on earth? He literally just looked like some random person. If they didn't say his name, I would not have guessed that was Raiko. He just looked like somebody's grunt. Like, some grunt soldier. I'm actually glad they allowed the women to fight and not dance in the mud like the other movie. Like, when the girls fought, they were fighting in the literal mud. Like, they might as well have been naked, honestly. No respect. They got no respect in that movie. But the girls were actually allowed to fight. The women were actually allowed to fight in this. So I was pretty happy about that. Except Natara. I was disappointed by Natara. Like I said, she was Anglo, not ethnic, no sort of ethnicity whatsoever. Maybe her great-great-great-great-grandmother was Asian, maybe one day. But I don't think so. She has no speaking lines. She just, like, hisses and does, like, noises like an animal. She's reduced to animal just like Reptile and dies to a flawless victory from Kung Lao. And that's like, okay. I wanted to see someone get sliced in half, but maybe some random person, not like Natara. Like, for her to be a front runner and one of the people that they pushed to say that was in this movie, she sure dies pretty quickly. She does some flying thing in the air. Y'all, you wasted that money for her to fly in the air just to die. That's pretty interesting. Could have saved a small village with that money. The best way to kill Goro is uppercut, so I was happy about that little Easter egg they put in there. But that girl, like, really should have been squashed and stomped. There really was no reason for Goro to lose that fight to Cole Young, and to not only lose the fight to Cole Young, but not even kill a single person when he went to Earth Realm. Whatever. I'm just so not invested in Cole Young's story. Goro would have and should have wasted that family. He should have stomped them into the ground. He should have made them into meat pulp. They should have been luncheon meat in the ground. And if you didn't want me to think that, you shouldn't have brought Goro to Earth Realm. Like, sorry. Oops, all berries. You should not have brought Goro to Earth Realm, because he would have bulldozed past that. He would have bulldozed through that car. So you telling me that Goro's not stronger than a car? Why is he so big? What was the point of him going there except just to die? He should have at least killed that family. There was no... And then how is Goro going to fight Johnny Cage in the next one if he's dead? And I know they're coming back. But it's just like, you didn't have to kill Goro. You do realize that not everyone died in the game, even when they fought. They were just defeated. You do realize that, right? They can be defeated without dying. But you wanted a lot of blood, didn't you? I know. I get that. I get the sentiment. Cole Young's family is far too cool with what's going on. They scream and shout here and there, but they just seem far too calm about this whole situation. Even with the arms, Jax is still puny as all get out. This boy puny. This boy, he puny. Just saying. He may sound the part. He may smell the part, but he does not look the part. And I'm so sorry about that, because he was really good. He sounded like it. You could have dubbed his voice over the real actor. But if we're gonna look at this medium, and the only two things we get from this is sound and sight and sound, like, you're just gonna have to come better. I'm sorry. Kung Lao dies by Shang Tsung, saving Cole Young. Oh my goodness, he had the worst death. The best character got the worst death. Shang Tsung killed, he's like, your soul's mine. He didn't even fight him. It's kind of annoying, because Shang Tsung is a good fighter. He is literally a powerful fighter. And since he's not old in this, makes no sense why he didn't actually fight. All he did was just grab him and say, okay, that's it. There was no, it would have been actually appropriate for Kung Lao and Quan Shang Tsung to fight each other. But that doesn't happen. He just grabs him. Cole Young is like the land version of Aquaman, like I said. His outfit is strange looking. His powers are just him fighting, except better. He's able to break or dislocate one of Goro's arms. It's like, okay. Raiko is like a half-baked character no one cares about. He could have been mocap, it would have been given more to the plot. I honestly thought that Stryker was going to be in this. I really did. I don't know why y'all chose Raiko out of every single person on this green earth to put in. Okay, I know that Stryker would have probably been a good guy. And if we're going to replace Raiko, we must replace him with a bad guy. There are tons of them. Shinnok is kind of above the pay grade. So I don't think it should have been Shinnok. Quan Chi, I do believe Quan Chi is going to play a bigger role in the sequel, if not the third installment, which it should be the third installment because the next person that should be the problem, which I really don't understand why they made Sub-Zero the big bad. They literally made him the big bad. And I know it was because he's a popular character, but he was never like the villain. I don't know. Y'all really kind of switched the roles around. You made Scorpion a hero and made Sub-Zero a villain when Sub-Zero is known as one of the good guys, regardless to what he did to Scorpion's family. They kind of just forget about that because that is canon. He did do that to his family, but like him dying now, I understand he's going to be Noob Saibot, or else he should be Noob Saibot. And then the other Sub-Zero, his brother, should come into play in the next one. But honestly, if we're going to replace Raiko with anyone, it should be at least, Natara could have played a better role. Natara should have been Raiko, and maybe she could have had, one speaking line. I don't even think Raiko speaks either. Don't do that. That's one big thing I'm telling you guys. Don't just put characters in there just so we can point out, Leonardo DiCaprio and say, yeah, that's someone we know. It's not cute. We're not here for it. We're not here for fan service. We're here for a movie with us in mind. There is a big difference. And if you don't know the difference, then you're not ready to make movies. At least you're not ready to make movies based on something so coveted. Shao Kahn appears 3 times in depictions, like a picture, and then I do believe there's statues of him. It's okay, why is that there when he's not even spoken about, really? It just seems to me like we're living in some alternate timeline where things have already happened. Because if Shao Kahn wasn't always Khan. Sindel was ruler before Shao Kahn. So where's Sindel? Where's Kitana? It seems like Kitana has already died because her weapon is on there, unless that wasn't her original weapon and she's going to get it in the next installment, but who knows? Why didn't they allow Melina to still be pink or have pink powers? Her thing is kind of dark purple, again with the DC darkness. It's okay, was it too girly for her to be pink? That's her color. Was it too girly to have Reptile be a little human, have a little skin? Kano versus Sonia Part 2 was okay, a bit funny. Kano always seems to be on joke mode. Even when he's getting destroyed, he's joking. It's really insane. The individual fights were good, but Jax killed Raiko far too quickly. That's how I know he was a nothing character, because he didn't get a good, decent ending like Natara. Kano dies by Sonya. Okay, so who's going to be in the sequels? I know they're coming back. We know this because it makes no sense for them to be dead now. It makes zero logical sense. But they could have just been defeated. And I know that Kano had to die in order to give Sonya that mark, but honestly, I feel like Cole Young was just a waste of space. Sonya should have already had the mark. She shouldn't have had to prove herself. She's like better than all of them. Super annoying. Liu Kang does the bicycle kick, so that was awesome. Liu Kang kills Cabal, and it's just like, okay, like, all right. And the dragon, he kills him with the dragon thing, dragon flames. It's like, all right, that was cool. I do believe that was fan service. It's like, okay. Sonya kills Melina, sadly, but goes to show Cole Young was meaningless. He did not need to be in this movie. He literally kills like one person. Scorpion versus Sub-Zero was amazing. Worked the weight. Not as good as the Kung Lao fights. Not by a long shot. Kung Lao's fights were superb. Cole Young's powers and final form is super disappointing. I was expecting him to have more of an influence from Scorpion. Like, literally, he could have been anybody's cousin looking the way he does. He just kind of has the colors, like the yellowish type colors that Scorpion has. Anything close to relating to. No fire, nothing really special. Just those forearm things that I don't know if he's somebody that was from a comic or something, but he literally is just a waste of space. Sub-Zero dying makes sense chronologically because I told you he must die in order for Noob Saibot to come from his death. Scorpion's flame teleport is a bit strange looking. Like Raiden's like lightning teleport looks very strange the first time you see it, especially since he keeps walking. The whole thing with his, like, the way he disappears, he does the lightning and he disappears. He doesn't need to walk. He just goes. That happens for the rest of the game, like the rest of the movie. They just do that thing where he uses the lightning and it teleports you away, but the first time he uses it, he walks. I think that was a mistake because they don't do that for the rest of the time. He doesn't have to walk while he's disappearing. But that's a small nitpick that I'm pretty sure no one noticed. The only way to revive any of these people who died is to bring Quan Chi into the mix and maybe Shinnok. But I have no idea what they're going to do. I hope Quan Chi comes into the mix, but it's not even his time. Quan Chi isn't really a person until Shao Kahn is defeated, because that introduces him, but whatever. Literally, after watching the entire movie, Cole Young was a waste of a character slot. So at the end, he's going to Hollywood for Johnny Cage. Okay, expected. Duh. Because where is he? Overall, like I said, I'm not as disappointed as I imagined I'd be with this game movie, but Cole Young was a big mistake. Sonya and Jax could have been point of view characters with the exact same outcome. The whole bloodline storyline thing didn't have to be in there at all. Sub-Zero was still in the mix and didn't need to be searching anymore for those people of like his lineage, of Scorpion's lineage, because he assumed they were all dead. He wasn't there for Cole Young specifically. He was killing every warrior with the mark that Liu Kang used to be the only one that like was associated with it or had it. Because isn't it him? But whatever. Shang Tsung tells the audience basically, oh, we'll be back and we'll be stronger, da 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 da. It's just like, okay, yeah, we know this. We're not dumb. He didn't have to say that, but whatever. I guess it's like, tune in next time. Like, that's fine. I give this movie, I would say 6. Literally, most of it is because Cole Young and his family literally hinders the film. Literally. Like, I knew this was going to happen. There was no reason for him to be in here. They just threw characters in there to die. I know it's Mortal Kombat, but Natara, like, could have at least spoke once. She just simps for Shang Tsung, giggles, and dies. Like, that's it. Surprisingly, the flawless victory and the Kano wins crap, like, they would just say, this person wins, and it's just kind of like at the end of their fight. It was kind of cleverly put in, and it was appropriately stated, so I didn't have a really big problem with it. The score sounded a bit off, like they were afraid of putting the exact sound we heard from the game in, so they just like did half new, half old score, and it was a bit off with the tone of the movie because it's dark. Problems they're gonna have in the future is Katara and Sindel must be black now because Melina's black, and Melina has to look like Katana, and Katana is the daughter of Sindel, so Sindel has to have some ethnicity to her, because Shao Kahn, I hope they don't make black, because that has a lot of issues with that, but whatever. So everyone's going to be a revenant or like revived, I guess, and will they have their real costumes like Melina used to, or nah, because their costumes were kind of off. The colors were very off with most of the people. Like I said, the only person who had like saving grace outfits were Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and Liu Kang looked like he was swimming in his. Sonya had her outfit's really basic, and really you can't go wrong. The only thing, like, she gets the worst lines. It was hard to go wrong with Sonya's outfit, just white shirt, pants, or shorts, or whatever she was wearing. I'm literally excited about the sequels, but I'm still confused as to why we need Cole Young. I think he should have died. I think he should have like sacrificed his life or something to allow Scorpion to come back or something. Like, what was the point of him sleeping and seeing like Scorpion and all that and having nightmares or whatever, having visions, if really it didn't add up to anything at all, really? Just wondering. But that's really all I have to say about it. I wasn't as disappointed. I still think Cole Young was a waste of space and time and effort, and his whole family sucks, and cannot believe Goro allowed that girl to stab him in the side with an axe, and he didn't grab her instantly and break her in half. Kind of confused as to why he didn't break that family to bits, to smithereens, broken in half. He should have grabbed both their arms and ripped them to bits, and that's when Cole Young should have got his powers or whatever, quote unquote powers. Like, what is he? What's his powers? Nothing. He has no powers. It's just he's fighting a little better because he said he supposedly a long time ago he was a better fighter, so he's fighting like he was younger, and he's just got an outfit that looks like it's shellacked on his body. Okay. I'm kind of done talking about this. Like and subscribe if you want more content like this. Let's have a conversation. Did you like this movie? Did you get what you wanted out of it? I personally got enough out of it for me to want a sequel, but I'm disappointed in the Cole Young storyline. I knew it was going to go nowhere. I knew he was going to be protected, and I knew that he was going to cause trouble and problems with the whole situation. If not for Cole Young, Kung Lao wouldn't have died. Kung Lao literally went and saved him, but for some reason, even though he was one of the strongest people there, he got ate up. There's a few plot holes and things wrong with how they told the story, but they're going to have to figure it out to make a sequel. They're just going to have to figure it out, I guess. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Everything I talked about is what I caught. I've only watched it once as of right now. And now I think I'm going to end this with a list of every Mortal Kombat character they could have used other than Cole Young: Baraka, Jade, Kintaro, Kitana, Smoke, Chameleon, Cyrax, Ermac, the girl Chameleon, Montaro, Nightwolf, Rain, Sector, Shiva, Sindel, Striker, Fujin, not Shinnok. I don't think he would have fit in this situation. Jarek, Kai, Meat. Of course, they used Raiko. He could have had a better role. Tanya, Tremor, Blaze, Boricho, Draman, Frost, Suhao, Kenchi, Li Mei, Mavado, Mocap, Moloch. Natara could have had a better character Ashra, Dario, Darius, Havoc, Nightwolf, Hotaru, Kira, Cobra. I don't think Onaga would have worked. Shujinko, Dagon, Taven, Scarlet, Davora, Aaron Black, Farah, Tor. Anyone who knows who Farah and Tor are, they, you know why it's funny. Literally, the Collector. Like, I'm just like scraping the barrel. Like, a lot of characters that I described are from Outworld, but some of them, a very good bit of them were in the Black Dragon with Kano and in the Red Dragon. So, they're humans. You could have used any human from that list. You can exclude all the humanoids if you want to. I'm just saying there's no excuse. Done. Mortal Kombat.